Okay, my name is Michael P., and I want to welcome everybody to our Expanse panel, and who doesn't love a good film, okay? So, welcome. We're going to go through the housekeeping first, and then a couple of things. I think we have a few things to give out, too. So, during the entire panel, we'll be giving out maybe a little swag, and some of it's actually fairly decent. I said that out loud. I'm sorry. Anyway, so we're good. So again, I'm Michael P. I'm the senior writer at the Friends of Comic-Con. I visit the Expanse set, and I need to always say this publicly. The person here to my left is the person who invited me to the set, and it was number one on my bucket list of things to do in life is to go visit a set of my favorite TV show. And this is the person who invited me, and that's Bob Munroe, who'll be introducing himself in just a second.
Just for the record, he invited himself. I just said to comply.
If you know me, you know he's telling you the truth. But anyway, and so I was at the International Space Development Conference when Jeff Bezos made the announcement that Amazon was picking up the Expanse. So,
Which was about 1 month too late for me because I already moved on to Altered Carbon.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself. You're up. Go ahead. You're up.
No, you're doing well. You got it.
No, you're up.
I'm supposed to introduce myself? Sure. I'm Bob Munroe. I was senior visual effects supervisor and also a producer of the television show called The Expanse. After that, like I just said, I did Altered Carbon. I met Nando Magnificent back there. There she is, right over there, waving. Not the real caveman, but someone who looks very similar. I did What We Do in the Shadows, the second season. I just had a movie that I produced that's been accepted in the Toronto International Film Festival. It'll be up in September, called Sharp Quarter. The one thing that I will say is that The Expanse was it was a difficult show for me to hire anybody in my department because The Expanse wasn't known. It was filmed in Toronto. They didn't know nobody knew the books. No one knew. I knew Alcon Entertainment, the company that made the show, that produced the show, because I did the Dolphin Tale movies with them. So I went from a dolphin with a CG tail to outer space. A big leap. But I had done outer space before, and I used to have a company with William Shatner, so I know the extraterrestrial world very well. The interesting thing was that nobody really wanted to work on the show, and I was trying to hire in my department, the visual effects department, and there was nobody that would take the job. I had 5 people for visual effects coordinator and visual effects producer. No one wanted it. Didn't know anything about it. I've got footage of me, with somebody being elongated as a belter, them walking around me and doing tests. I've got tests of the comm units and the floating windows, and got all that stuff from day one. Which I think next Comic-Con I might have to bring and just show all that, how it evolved. But it was back then it was a show that nobody really wanted to work on, and it turned into a show that changed the world. I am still more proud of the work on The Expanse than pretty much anything I've ever done in my life. And I've been fortunate to work on a lot of major productions, a lot of groundbreaking productions, and The Expanse is really a feather in my cap, due very much to the super fans, the people like you in this room, people like Michael, who really put their whole heart and soul behind that television show. And they did get it renewed. When it got canceled by Sci-Fi, the super fans got it renewed. No word of a lie. I was contacted by Michael and many, and Hannah, like so many people saying, what if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do this? I said, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, send the Rossi to space. Yes, fly a plane around, Amazon. I was actually there the day that the plane was flying around Amazon in Los Angeles. I'm from Toronto, and I just happened to be actually in LA. And I watched the plane fly around, and I got out of a meeting at Amazon. It was a meeting for nothing to do with The Expanse. I just saw that plane, Save The Expanse. I was like, wow, you guys did it. They did it. The superfans did it. If you ever need proof that the fan base can change the life of a show, this is it. And I will shut up now because I've gone way too long. I'm very, very emotional about this show. I love this show.
I just want to say one thing. It's really important to remember, you guys were really good to the fans too, because they had a whole bunch of things. Remember when they had the things with the fans, fans of the week, fans of the month, that type of thing, and they sent us these wonderful swag, hats and everything else, and they actually send us little personal notes. They send us patches and stuff. I mean, they treated the fans like the kings and queens. I truly believe that. But anyway,
well, you are kings and queens. So you all, again, you guys are just. Put it this way: when the third season viewing party in New York, I was invited to. I was actually flown down courtesy of the fans. They paid for my flights. They paid for my flight. They paid for my hotel. They brought me down. Steven Strait was there. Francois Chow was there. JP Mao, and we just hung out like we were old friends to watch the finale of the third season, where I had to unfortunately announce I was not going to be back for I'm the producer of the fourth season, but I was not visual effects supervisor. Again, the fans just. This is my first time to San Diego Comic-Con. Will be my last. Again, you guys rock. You make me happy that I do what I do for a living. Really, really happy.
And Chris, you're up next, and you can lead in from what Bob said about New York. Please do that.
Yeah, I think I was actually at that party.
Oh,
Chris Keller, I'm one of the original Screaming Firehawks that helped save The Expanse. I have a Facebook group called The Expanse Geeks, which I'm sure. And I've worked as a creative writing professor at NYU. I currently a professional writer living in New York. And I forgot to tell you, The Expanse Geeks now has 17,000 members. It's grown since the show ended. So it's an international group now.
Yeah, we have people in Thailand, Canada,
Oslo.
Europe is huge.
We actually did a band meetup in Oslo.
Yeah, so it's huge. Okay.
I have a passport. I can travel.
I might hold you to that.
My name is Kelsey, aka Sister K. I have a podcast called Sister Speak Productions. We talk about all things TV and movies from a Black woman's point of view. And we started because we just saw a disparity of how people of color were portrayed on TV and movies. We wanted to just talk about it because it wasn't being talked about 17 years ago when we started. And since then, we've just grown and done all types of shows and Expanse. We didn't actually include that in our repertoire, but that's one of my most favorite sci-fi shows that we did. I hope.
The short gist of it is, well, I'm not the youngest member of Ray Bradbury's group anymore. I haven't sold the movie and the AFM in 10 years, but I want to again. Hopefully I can make a sale this year.
Oh,
And I'm a big fan of The Expanse.
don't forget the shout out. You're supposed to do a shout out. You remember the shout out?
You're not done.
Shout out.
We'll do it later.
Okay.
And for Julie, by the way.
I'm Chris Blackwood. I'm a human-centered designer and systems engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I started the Expanse fan group there, and I see at least one other JPLer in the audience. And The Expanse is my favorite show from the very first shot.
Saluda! Thank you very much. Welcome in good company. I'm Dr. Scott Jordan, aka Zombie Scotty. I will let you know my AKA is Zombie Scotty because I podcasted with Sister K and during her Game of Thrones podcast. I was named Sir Zombie Scotty of House Silver Fox, Lord Commander of the Sisters Guard. All right, they gave that to me. I didn't make it up. But absolutely The Expanse. I do our YouTube channel, Dark Loops Productions. Podcasted season 6 of The Expanse with the women from Sister Speak Productions. Had an absolute blast. One final thing, we're talking about villains. The humans are the villains. Protomolecule is a superhero.
That's our next one.
Mike, now I'll bring it up because obviously this is a Navy town. So shout out to any of the Navy veterans out there, and for Chief Remo, and my two guests.
All right, just real quick, we're going to get started. I'm going to do some housekeeping here. I have a quick question. Does anyone know, and just raise your hand on this one, does anyone know the name of the person who played Eric, right? The mob boss in Baltimore. Does anyone know the name of the...
Jacob Mandel.
All right, I should raise your hands.
Thanks to Boss Man. He runs a tent ship.
Oh, he gets a goodie. There you go.
If you don't mind, if you could go out, outside afterwards, because I want to take a picture, and I always send it off to Jacob and let him know, that one of the fans got his picture. He really loves it. Yeah, when you guys do that, okay? And you probably, we have some military people here?
Not active, but
Retired?
I'm not retired. Just reserve duty.
Reserve? Okay, well, that's fine. Why don't we give, we have some posters here for you guys. If all the military people reserve or retired. Yeah.
All right, thank
And if you think about it, like the space battles in there, it's very much like very Navy, like Pirates area from back in the day. So it's a very Navy-oriented show.
Here, we can do something like a syringe from episode 211. There we go.
I love you guys.
These are, Bob is bringing actual props.
These are from the show.
You guys hold on to that.
Yeah.
And then you guys remember, if you picked up a prize or something, please.
Did you miss something? You're getting better because you were last. You're getting better. Diogo and Mateo, beer cans, flavor percent, all that. Oh, those are beer cans.
That's actually swag, true swag there. So you guys hold on to that.
Yeah, that's real shit. I'm not kidding. My wife is so happy. She was like, I've got the big device that Kenzo took out of. He welded it out, and it's got the protomolecule in it, and he pulls it out, and it floats up, and I get that in my house. My wife's going, please take that. I'm like, I can't take this in Diego. How am I going to get that there? But I got that in my house, so she's like so happy that I'm giving stuff away. She really is.
I'm going into his house to pick that up. That's mine. That's mine. Mail it to me. So, just real quick, we're going to go through these next slides very, very quickly. This is all the printed works. The reading order and the publication dates, which you can see are different, right? But the reading order is probably what you need to keep track of, okay? And then, of course, we have the 6 seasons. They're all on Amazon Prime right now. We have Dragon Tooth. Who's seen the Dragon Tooth? Okay. No, we have 2 people. Okay. No. Both of you, I'll give her this. Do everything else. That's the comic book. Did you guys know about that? Oh, okay.
Remember the cut.
This a very dynamic, actually a really great scene to film. It was because I didn't know how we were going to do it when we filmed it. It's called Between the Hulls. Amos is getting slapped around when the Rossi had to go change direction all the day. He was trying to fix up a broken pipe. Anyway, that's the sleeve that he was putting over the pipe that in CG would healed it up. So there you go. That is a real rock.
Just so you know, we've done panels other places, and this is the best swag that we've given out. Just so you know.
But almost, if I can give anything else away, I'm going to have to give my credit card to people. I got one more thing left, that is all.
Oh, I've got something though. I've got something very, very special. And let's get into this first, so, okay? So, and you know, they've got the game out to Telltale, all right? Chris, did you help them on that a little bit or something? Or did you went to the showing that they did in
Yes, I actually got to play the game. Both Chris's got to play the game.
You too, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to go to the special preview.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did great. Yeah, so, you know, they've actually, so if you guys want to know anything about the game, they were there. I think, Chris B, I think you know more than Chris K about the game, right?
She's
Didn't
much
play
better
it all the
player.
way through twice.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to this, the villains. All right, over here you see the dictionary definition, and this is old school definition of villain. And it's kind of rather, you know, kind of, I don't know, what would you call it? It's not racist or sexist or anything. It's kind of like classist. I mean, classist, isn't it? Because they said poor people had to be villains, right? Rich people couldn't be villains. So only the poor people were villains, according to this definition.
And it's sexist. It's all about the man.
No, wasn't Snidely Whiplash a landowner who was like constantly trying to collect rent from
And then we have a definition of Wikipedia definition of evil here too. So you know, take it for whatever it's worth. So let's get started.
Thank you.
The villain. Well, we're going to start with you, Scott.
I have no idea you're going to start with me. Are we really doing that?
Okay, and so, you know, these are some of the villains that I kind of pointed out here, and we'll be talking about all of them. But we're going to start with Scott, and, you know, maybe season 1, Scott, if you want.
I'd love to. The pictures you have up there are of the humans, and I have no problem calling them villains. The proto-molecule is what, for me, makes the Expanse extremely important and fairly unforgettable, because I love the space battles and such, and those types of conflicts and those arguments have been taking place on this planet since humans have been around. But when you throw the proto-molecule in there, then everybody's assumptions about what's good and what's evil really get tested. And the proto-molecule is doing nothing more than you and I do every day when we eat food. We eat something, and what do? If you think of us as energy transformers, which is what I do, right? We take in energy, we transform it, meaning we chew it, digest it, and we dissipate, which means we go to the bathroom. But a lot of the energy is used to sustain what we are. And because we use that energy and consume it, we can walk, we can talk, we can think. So consuming something and destroying it actually creates possibilities for the consumer. And when the proto-molecule becomes the ring gates, I don't care if it's a trap, I don't care if it's what it is, it's possibilities that we didn't have before they opened up. So I think putting the proto-molecule in the show, it asks us perhaps look at ourselves as energy transformers as opposed to bodies with minds or body with souls. And I think we get a lot out of that, because then we recognize that everything we do costs something. So yeah, the proto-molecule is my superhero. You can cut it now. Thank you very much.
Me?
Yes.
Am I
You can
supposed
call
to
me
follow
names.
up about the proto-molecule, or can I talk about my favorite season 1 villain?
We want
Your favorite. He's already talked about his favorite.
Don't boo
They were the
me,
villain.
guys. But Christian Obsara. She is my favorite character in the series, but I am dressed as a belter, and in the first scene we see her
Yep.
torturing a belter, and that is villain behavior, you guys.
I can show you guys the before and after that too. He was standing on a box and we elongated his legs to be.
Well, first off, I mean, are you down with spoilers? Oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. Well, okay, I mean, yeah. No, what I'm talking about, here's the thing. I'm gonna talk about past the show. Who here has read all the books? Oh, okay, all right, cool. I feel safe. You were warned. My favorite villain is actually kind of like a double combo because I see them almost like a Batman and Joker of each other, which is Winston Duarte and Holden. Because who put you in charge? Who told you that you could speak for the rest of humanity? Who are you to decide for all of us? They both need to answer that question. That's true villain behavior. The non-acknowledgement that we are single individual units. So that my will subsumes all will of all humanity. I got a problem with that. I live in America, son.
For me, it's Jules Pierre Mao because I think he started out just being greedy and trying to find something that he could use as a weapon. But when his daughter became involved, and he decided then to go and experiment on people that had no choice in the matter and just say, oh, I don't really care about them. They're not part of what I care about, so let me die.
Yeah.
That to me was true villain behavior just for that dollar. So
That was
why-
true corporate sociopathic behavior.
Yes, and the fact that his daughter was involved, and he still, even after, I know this was probably it's kind of going into season 2, but even when he realized why she died, what came of her, he still continued on with that same path. Like he totally, at that point, where he could have turned it maybe back around, like, oh, this really does affect real people, even though those were real people that he chose to kill. He still continued on that path to experiment on folks that had no say. So to me, that was the ultimate villain.
I kind of think Mao had like a reverse redemption arc. Like instead of getting better, he just kept going.
Yes.
But my favorite villain is not a very big villain. It's Diogo. And the reason why is, first of all, maternal instincts, but also his character is what Miller would have been if he hadn't become a cop. So what he does instead of pulling himself up by the bootstraps in series is he tries to go straight, hanging out with his uncle. That almost kills him. Then he starts following Miller, and at one point they're both looking in the mirror when Miller's staying at his house, at his apartment, and he goes, we Belters, and Diogo puts his arm and goes, Beltalora. And that's like when you see that they're kind of like a mirror image of each other in a way. And I think he's like the perfect example of what it's like to be a teenage kid who doesn't have any direction and follows what he thinks is the right path and then realizes that it's just not going to get him anywhere.
I just want to actually point something out first. This in a TV show would be a $5,000 visual effect. This one that does not stand up by itself. So yeah, a lot of the villains that have been named by the panel are the proto molecule. In my opinion, is funny enough water. The proto molecule is something you need to sustain your life, but it also can carve the Grand Canyon. It just doesn't have anything in terms of a soul or mind. It just is. Fun fact, we were about to shoot the episode where we had to transform the little boy Katoa, who was about 10 years old, into the monster. And one of the companies that does the visual effects, did the visual effects for the Expanse is called Spin VFX. And very good friends of mine, I've used them for a lot of my shows. And I happened to be at their office one day, and I was chatting with Cesar DeCall Jr. Cesar was the head of creature development, creature modeling. And my son also happened to work at Spin, and in the VR department. And I was there, and I was chatting with Cesar, and I was chatting with my son, and we were looking to cast the grown-up Katoa. And I looked past everybody. I went, who's that over there? And Cesar goes, that's my son, also named Jordan. And I went, he is perfect for Katoa. So I went back to the studio and I talked to Narayan Shankar, who's the showrunner, and said, I had pictures. He said, he's the guy. And he said, well, you have to transform him into the proto molecule. So if you think he's the right guy, then he's the right guy. And he let me cast him. And he was an unknown. He just happened to be at the office visiting his dad, and he was the right person for it. And he did an amazing job in that, that sarcophagus, banging, screaming, yelling, in agony and pain, and he was just literally a kid that I just walked past. And I went, okay, you're Katoa. Fun fact. Other thing that I would say is that all the villains that have been named, all the actors that played them are the nicest people in the world, including Sean Doyle, who played Aaron Wright, Sheree, but for me, the main villain in The Expanse, and this will be a surprise, is Fred Johnson.
Bob.
Yeah, that's Fred Johnson.
Bob, we talked about it.
It's Fred Johnson.
Did Bob watch the show?
The vile background of this character, and he was the butcher of Anderson Station.
Wait a minute. That's what you say he ain't gonna count the nine. Bob Munroe doesn't know what he's talking about. Villain? Come on, really. He may have been a villain in the past, but he redeemed himself, right? Good job. Please, more like friend and ally of your PA and the runner of the Nauvoo. Sure, the Mormons may not have been happy, but really, come on, who's ever really happy? And with this soothing, deep voice. Really? Come on. Now, Abzarala, on the other hand, like I said, y'all, do not listen to Munroe. You got better things to do. Enjoy the rest of the con. Chad.
Just to follow up with that, just real quick, because we'd asked if people had read the books. Who's in the process of reading the books now, the novels? Raise your, okay. Now, who is in the process of reading the novels who does not have the last novel? Okay. I have one quick question. What Marvel superhero with superpowers was on The Expanse, had an extra role on The Expanse? You guys can help them, okay? You guys, if somebody else knows, you can help those too. You don't say, no, you don't say anything. Say Shang-Chi? Yeah, he's right. All right, and so he's decided, you tell me who I get the prize to. You get to decide. Yeah, they're both, you both are reading the books, right? Wow. All right. We gotta choose a number between 1 and 10. Is that fair, guys?
I'll get the arm wrestling.
Between 1 and 10?
I have no idea what he's doing.
You just tell her. Okay. So, all right, we need another question then.
I could throw in a trivia
Okay.
question.
Throw this one.
Okay.
Of you
One.
three. Okay.
Okay, have you guys all watched the show? Yeah. Okay. When is the first time you meet Bobby Draper?
Raise your hand.
Can I answer or no?
I don't know. Only those three can do it. That's too hard for me.
Harder?
Yeah, try an easy one.
Do you want a harder? Okay.
Easy one.
You want that one?
Well, I mean, the answer to this one was on Twitter for a long time. So the question is, what was the first, and there's a lot of Simpson references in that show, what was the first one that nobody could answer, and then finally one person got it, and they had to send them all the books?
It took 5 years for somebody to figure this out. It took 5 years.
But it's been all over now, so somebody should know.
That's a hard one.
The Simpsons reference that Bobby Draper made?
No, you're crossing streams. No, sorry, two different subjects.
Yeah.
The first Simpsons reference that nobody could guess, and
Guys, I think we need to make it easier for these three. I think we need to make it just a little.
Okay,
that's a hard one.
what was the rating for season 5 on Rotten Tomatoes?
104%. 100%.
Okay, let me, how about this one? Let me do this question then, okay? So we had Shang-Chi, which actor, he was in the first season, and then he went and had his own television show, and maybe it was in Hawaii.
Come on, really?
Come on, go ahead, sir.
The guy that was Havelock.
Jay.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Jay.
Okay. I'm gonna make it easy on myself. You get to decide. I'm gonna make it. And this, by the way,
I think you
is
should
the
just
prize.
give
Your
everybody.
prize is you get to decide who else gets it?
I'll take the
That's, yeah.
You'll take the vote? Okay. All right. Those are honestly some hard questions, though, guys. I agree with you. Those are very difficult questions.
I'm gonna ask the most difficult question that this room has heard. I'm gonna ask, has nothing to do with the Expanse, but it does actually, kind of somewhat. It's a Jet Propulsion Labs trivia question. I'm in the the world of visual effects and computer animation, and there was back in the 1970s, 80s, 90s. There was a person who worked at JPL, and some other person, basically the statement they said was, there are 12 brilliant minds in computer graphics. 6 of them are... There's one person, this guy was so good, he was 6. Yeah, computer graphics at JPL. Yes.
Dan Goods?
Nope. Jim Blinn. His name is Jim Blinn. He's actually got a shading model named after him. So at that time, there were 12 good people in computer animation and computer graphics. That's 6 of them, Jim Blinn. So that's a GPL trivia question for you. Yeah, you're looking up. I see it. Who the hell is Jim Blinn? B-L-I-N-N. 2 N's. So that's a little takeaway for you guys. He really did change computer animation, change visual effects, which is why you're seeing the kind of things in the Expanse that you saw in Star Trek, that you're seeing in Star Wars, that you're seeing in every major visual effect, which is a department that puts more asses in the seats than any other department. You're seeing those kinds of revolutionary, cinematic, game-changing technologies. And Jim Blinn was really kind of the godfather of that at JPL. So,
You guys, just a quick question of the panel here real quick.
you can chase stuff out so fast, can you?
Yeah, that's my job. Okay, but anyway, we have these 4 villains of season 3 and 4. Who do you think is the worst? I'm asking the panel. Let's start this way, because we started with you last time. Okay. And so let's start with Bob first. And so who do you think is the worst villain?
Circling. Yeah, circling.
I am that guy.
Jules.
Chris?
I would say Marjorie, because it's harder for people to understand what's wrong with it. Because he's got what seems to be a moral viewpoint, and it all sounds so good, and it's very seductive, and people start to believe in him. Whereas with Strickland, he's just off the wall. So to me, the worst villain is the one that people start to believe.
Okay. Sister Kate?
I was gonna say Mercury also because he had his reasons for what he was doing, but he just did it with such anger and evilness and I don't know, not a personable way that really includes everyone that he was trying to supposedly protect. And so that's why I would say Mercury.
More by the like the great person theory of history type of thing, like that puts me off. Like, there wouldn't be Expanse story without Jules Pierre. I mean, the kind of stuff that happened, like the whole rock got genocided by like the proto. So this yeah. Hey. But he's the villain. He's the villain.
Yeah, I got a +1, Jules, because that man will do anything for $1. And conscience whatsoever.
Captain Planet.
Just doesn't even care.
Well, I'm gonna borrow something Chris Kay said earlier about Mao. You think he's gonna get better, it just gets worse. And there's a specific moment where that happens, and it's when Strickland convinces him that the experiments have to continue, and he shows him these kids suffering but doing cool things. So if someone's oscillating because they're evil, and someone actually keeps them evil, I'm gonna go with the guy who kept them evil and say Strickland.
All right, I'm gonna say Strickland too, because I mean, when you make experiments on children and you have total disregard for children, I mean, that's evil on a level that's just like, you know, that's not human. I mean, so I think it's Strickland. That's my take on it. And then the final seasons. And
Oh, there's something fine, seriously.
okay. Well, no, all right. We start with Scott this time.
Oh, sorry. I didn't say that.
You want to wear? Okay, so
Can you see him?
so I'm going to say Marco, and I'm going to qualify it because Marco is the type of person that would actually do what it takes to start a revolution. So we can talk about throwing rocks into Earth as evil, yet what was happening systematically to the Belters was evil on a large scale. So what he did was the kind of thing, I'm not inciting revolutions, y'all, but they usually begin with someone who has that kind of temperament. And what happens? Well, the guillotines come out, people get rid of them, and people that don't have that same edge become the people that are in charge. So he's a villain, but he's a villain that had an important role for revolution.
Marco is scary, and I do feel like I dated him at some point.
Yeah.
Not better. But Duarte scares me to death. He is smarter than me, and he has, sorry, people who haven't read the later books, unlimited power. That is just terrifying.
I gotta go to a +1, even when he was the Asian guy in the books, on Duarte, because when they talk about like the dream of Mars died when they found like the rings, like there's no fiercer adherent than a convert, and people like that are scary, because they'll do anything. That's true evil.
In my opinion, it was Marco, because even though he might have started out trying to change or get the attention of what was happening to his people, he went all the way to the left with his ego. He just lost the plot, and then it just became about killing everyone else besides who he wanted to be in power. So that's who I thought it was for that last season.
I'm gonna have to go with Duarte, and for the same reason I went with Murtry. It's so seductive, his theories and his beliefs, and he sucks people in for what he wants, and he has no qualms about taking in a guy like Marco and turning him into a tool. He has no qualms about turning people into mush so that he can live forever. His whole reason for being, and I'm going beyond the show here, is to basically rule the universe. He's not happy to have just a planet. He wants everything.
He went to battle the gods, remember? He was mad.
Yeah, he even said that in season
Yeah.
6.
This sounds like a really good show.
It's talking about storming. It's talking about storming heaven in one of the lines. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this on. I get it though. It's we got 6 panelists up here, and well, you have to get the tiebreaker because it's going to be three. I'm with Marco and Norris. If you're with him, you're his his ally. The minute he figures out that you maybe cannot promote or evolve his vision, his reason for being, he will turn on you in a second. He'll throw you the bus. So that's you deal down to him. So if you all of a sudden stop becoming important or critical or whatever to him, he's throwing you under the bus, no matter how much he supported him in the past. So that's my reason for
tell you in a second who I believe, but let me ask the question. You guys, everybody who's cosplaying as somebody from the show, please stand up. There's a reason I said this. Please do this. Okay. You want to do? Okay. We've got two things. I don't know how we're going to hand them out.
We have two people.
We have two people. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you got one prop from the show.
Yeah, this one too. So, all right, you're up here first, so you get to decide. This is a reproduction of the script. Yeah.
The pilot script.
Oh, this is a reproduction of the pilot script with the signatures of the actors on it. It's a reproduction. And then Bob, tell me what you got.
This is a arm patch, Miller's arm patch. We got injured in episode 204, scene 53. That is the arm patch that he was put on that we again using visual effects scene to that's a real prop, real thing. That's why I get these, because we have to do them in CG.
So he was up first, so does he get to choose?
Yeah, he gets to choose.
Okay, you get to choose which one you want. Okay.
That's why we were talking about it. That's how we're talking about it.
And you guys, please remember, I need to take a picture of everybody, especially the one with the, Jacob's picture, because what I did, I actually texted with that picture afterwards, okay? So, maybe we'll try to get him
about business.
Okay, we'll try to get him here at some point. Okay, so we got that done, all right, just, I have to tell you who I think, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's back up for a second. We have, nobody mentioned Philip here at all, right? Philip literally killed, how many people did Philip kill? Literally billions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Okay.
He's a child.
Wait a minute. Children are innocent. Remember, they have the original sin too. So, all right, so we have Philip over here. We have evil Daddy, who twisted his child, right, and made him evil. And then, but you have Duarte, who's smarter than all of them, who gave this kind of power to someone so petty as Marco. And he knew damn well what Marco was going to do with that power, right? And if he hadn't given him the tech, those rocks would have been caught by Earth, and they would have never crashed into Earth. There's clearly Duarte, because he's the mastermind behind all of it. And then he when he got rid of Marco, then he just said, I can't be bothered anymore. I've got gods to conquer. You're nothing. And so clearly in my mind is Duarte. There's just no ifs, ands about it. Duarte, but he's evil though is the question. Do we find him as evil and stuff? Because he's just like on some other. Because if you read the books later on, right, he's in the middle world. He's just in a total world on something.
But Michael, he doesn't start out that way, right?
Yeah, that's
he
true.
starts out with that intention as a human.
And he was a brilliant person too. He was brilliant, and he could have done so many other things that but he chose this path, and he went down that path knowing full well. Marco was delusional. We can say this and that and stuff, but he was not at that level of Duarte. Duarte knew exactly what he was doing. And he knew exactly how to push the buttons with Marco. He knew by setting Marco up, he could run and go off and do what he needed to do. Okay, so clearly in my mind, Duarte is the bad guy. So now we have the builders and we have the gods. So, thoughts on the builders and the gods?
Cosmic beings at different scales. It's like us eating chickens. Energy's transformed. I know there's a scale, the name I don't know, the energy scale.
He does.
The planet.
The Kardashev.
The
Kardashev scale.
But the common denominator between that scale, the planets, and the cosmic gods, and us is energy transformation and consumption. Hinduism gets this. That's why they have all of us being sheep.
What makes the Expanse great is it's not very Campbellian in structure. It's more very Eastern, like the story structure.
Yes.
But does everybody know that he mentioned the Kardashev scale? Does everybody know what the Kardashev scales are? Can you?
I'm not
Wait,
good.
Yeah, now you have to
Chris is
explain
there
it.
too. So
Well,
you two work on it together, okay?
Well, no, look. Type 1, like planetary, like you're able to, basically like controlling storms is nothing. You can control the energy of your planet, right? Type 2 is like you have access to all the output of your local solar, your local star. And then 3 would be like galactic, like every single star in your galaxy, right? And then there's like 4 or 5 like above that, but that's the base.
And those are all like theoretical scales and stuff like that because, in terms of like...
we might see them soon.
Yeah, because the
I was
buildings...
gonna say, I hope they're theoretical.
It's a dark forest if they're not,
Well, that whole thing with those, when you see the neutron stars colliding, Jesus, guys, come on, guys, that's a power source for somebody. I mean, that's all.
I just gotta say, the goths are innocent. They just don't want you walking through their bedroom at night. That's all they're doing is like chasing you all back with crazy physics distortion.
Well, because the builders were indifferent to the fact that they were pulling that power from their universe, and they didn't care. They literally don't care, and they didn't care after they destroyed, because if you read the later books, we get the hive mind and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, if anybody's read the last books, the giant, the
giant diamond.
EMD,
Yeah,
the big, big part diamond.
The big Edmund diamond and stuff, which is what, almost as big as Jupiter or something?
Yes, and it's literally like not just the knowledge, but almost like a sentience about everything that the builders ever did.
And they were just, it's kind of like locked in there, almost a computer program, right? So,
Yeah, they were actually able to have some control over some of the characters.
They have a version of like Matryoshka.
Okay, guys, I'm going to run ahead just here because there's one thing I'd like to finish our panels on. And so this is information about contacting us and online and et cetera. Most of us have a little bit of online presence and stuff, and Scott's got the, Chris, you're on JPL, their thing, right? Chris.
No, JPL is JPL's thing.
Oh, okay.
At NASA JPL.
We'll call you JP, but as far as we're concerned, you're JPL. Okay, you're all right. But here, I always like to finish with this.
If you take a hit, just stay calm. They just want the cargo. Well, SOS, start negotiations for prisoner release, okay?
I'm just trying to do some good out here.
We have to do good where we can, when we can.
And we have. I have. I think this is what I've always really wanted to do.
You saved us.
I don't deserve credit for that.
I promise, no more secrets.
We make it all this way.
I have something I need to say to you.
So far out into the darkness. Why are you so hell-bent home? Because this is my fault. Why couldn't we have brought more light? What were you thinking when Naomi told you what she did?
She's not the person I thought she was.
No one's always right. What happened to my team?
When people don't tell the truth, it always ends badly.
Our family is falling apart.
We were never a family, Alex. Face it, this is your home. It's your family.
That's your answer? We just let everything go? After everything we've been through, our ship, our home, you want to lose the Rossi?
This is our fight now. We're the only ones who know what's going on down there.
We're the only ones who can fix this.
The only ones with a chance to stop it.
The ship's ready.
Are you?
We need to stick together. Do it together.
Amos, suit up. Give me your luck.
I'm not leaving you two.
Your power armor is in this gift. Get it? And come save our asses. You guys really saved my ass. We're not going anywhere till that thing is dead.
Actually, our family needs our help right now. It's his idea.
I appreciate you inviting me and your family there, Holden.
At least you thought it was work done.
Yeah, that worked out.
I don't give a damn about the protocol kill anymore. It's out there now. So be it. But we promised Prax we'd help him find his daughter.
Don't forget your antibiotics.
I won't.
Truth and justice. You still believe that? After everything you saw?
Yeah.
Powering up. Good luck copying me.
You be careful down there, Arthur.
Ja, och så tog. Careful up here, Martian.
Good job, Marine.
Sent to you, spy.
just like I said, an absolute privilege. Two things that I'll never forget from the first season. Steven Strait went on the Carson Daly show at one point and said, yeah, I had this, we did this show called The Expanse, and shooting day one, and I had to do this 0G sex scene, and the visual effects supervisor, the guy Bob Munroe, he says, I have to take some pictures of your bare ass, because he was in harnesses, and we had to remove the harnesses to make it 0G and floating, so I had to get literally Steven stand right there. Hi, I'm Bob Munroe, visual effects supervisor, day one. Nice to meet you. Turn around, you gotta get your bare ass. So we did that. And then there was an inside joke at the end of the first episode when, I can't remember the character's name, Jim Bolton's girlfriend. And she says, Jim, there's something you should know. And the writers wrote, I'm sleeping with Shed. Or Shed, he's the guy that got his head blown out. So I'm sleeping with Shed. That was the inside writer's room joke. So those two little tidbits you can take away. Steve Strait's ass, and I'm sleeping with Shed.
Okay, just a reminder, the prize winners, I need you guys outside over here to take your pictures, and especially you, I want to just, I'm going to send that off to Jake, okay? And so thank you guys to the panel, I really appreciate that, and I think we had an outstanding panel.